love, it can leave you feeling on top of the world.
It was really good at first, really good. He swept me off my feet.
He kept saying how what a lovely voice I had and he couldn't wait to hear it in person. It just made me feel special.
But what happens when the dream turns into a nightmare?
Eva and I are taking our therapy in a whole new direction as we explore how the dizzying heights of love can lead to the darkest depths of despair.
I was even stupid to take out a loan, but he took every single penny of that.
I thought, honestly, he was going to kill me.
My ex-partner has assaulted me. I've got a really nasty head injury. My eyes actually shut.
This is the moment Lynn Hart decided to call for some help after having been beaten by a man she loved.
This is where I work. I'm currently off sick to the end of the month.
Hello.
2 women are killed each week by a current or former partner in England and Wales. Lynn had a very lucky escape.
Yeah.
So you met online?
Yeah.
And he swept you off your feet?
He did, yeah. I loved him so much.
Really?
Yeah.
And how long, it progressed really quickly, didn't it? How long was it before you moved in together?
About 6 months.
Right.
It was quite quick.
So when did you first notice a change?
About 6 months, maybe. It was nobody loves you. Then the physical abuse started, hair pulling, spitting was his favourite. And then the punching, stomping on me was another habit of his.
How did that make you feel? Because this is someone that you love. How did you justify that?
I'm disgusted with myself, he used to say to me. You know, it'd never happen again. And then it'll go a few months, really nice and smoothly. Then all of a sudden, it just changed. It was like Jekyll and Hyde.
Lynn's manager started working at the pub a month before the attack and had noticed that some things weren't quite right.
When Lynn was coming into work, she did have quite a few bruises on her, but she was always finding excuses for reasons why she got these bruises. Deep down, I think we all knew, but Lynn wasn't, at the time, willing to admit it.
But on the 5th of May this year, Lynn received a brutal beating from her ex-partner, which left her unrecognisable.
So tell me about the attack.
He's pulling me around by my hair. He was punching me in the face. He brought the soundbar for TV and he battered me with that one. He stomped on me several times. I thought, honestly, he was going to kill me.
And how do you feel now that he's in prison?
It's like grieving again because, you know, I loved him. But I think he should have got longer. I think he should have been actually done for attempted murder.
Nobody's immune to domestic violence. And I'm sorry that I've been what you are.
Oh, bless you.
And it just makes me really sad to think, because I know how you feel. And I ended up in hospital as well.
You're a survivor.
Like you, yeah.
You are.
And I just, my thing for you, Lynn, more than anything, is to know that I admire you. I admire you because you survived your darkest day. I admire you because you're talking about it. Yeah. I admire you because you're going to make a big difference to so many people. Yeah. But do know, and I can tell you from experience, that you will get through it and it will make you stronger.
Yeah.
Lynn's story is shocking and the image of her after the attack is sickening.
We're going to meet the inspector who helped to put David Harrison behind bars.
Lynn's case is a familiar case to me in the sense that she suffered abuse before. At times she reported to the police via the nines, and then upon police attendance she was able to almost play down what had happened and said it was only a verbal dispute when actually it had been far more. The message is don't tolerate it because it can get worse, and certainly Lynn's case, it did get far worse.
David Harrison was sentenced to 7 years in prison following the attack.
Hearing Lynn's story has been really moving. She put up with a man who beat her time and time again because she believed that he loved her, a reoccurring theme with domestic violence.
Sadly, domestic abuse affects around 2 million people a year, and the only way for this to stop is to speak out. Hopefully today, Lynn will realise she's got a brighter future, free from domestic abuse.
In our private clinic, we've noticed a recent surge of people asking for help after heartbreak. Nick, come here, I want you to take a look at something.
But first, it's a shocking story that will act as a warning to many.
Looking for somebody to go to the cinema with, have a meal with, companionship more than anything really.
After hearing Di's story, we were compelled to meet her to find out how looking for love online can sometimes be fraught with danger.
I was even stupid to take out a loan, but he took every single penny of that.
Di Pogson was happily married for nearly 30 years when unexpectedly her husband passed away, leaving her heartbroken and alone.
Desperate to find someone to share her life with, Di went online with the hope of meeting that special someone.
That dream was soon snatched away by a fellow widower in his 50s named Kevin Thompson, but all was not as perfect as it seemed.
So how long were you chatting with him before he first approached you for money?
A couple of weeks.
That soon?
Yeah.
So why was Kevin different? Because you didn't even meet him, did you?
No. He said what I wanted to hear, and lulled me into thinking that this guy really cared. He was widowed in similar sort of circumstances. He kept saying how what a lovely voice I had, and he couldn't wait to hear it in person, and, you know, it just made me feel special.
He gained your trust?
Yes.
So when did he first ask for money?
About 2.5 weeks into chatting. He was so desperately worried about his dog, and it was vital that I helped him to pay the vet bill. He specifically asked for £450, and I remember the day my son-in-law and my daughter were here, and are you sending him money? No. I got completely straight-faced lied to him.
Did you feel like you'd fallen in love with him?
Yes, I did.
And did he ever tell you that he...
All the time.
Really?
Was there any mention of paying this money back at all?
Yes. When it was coming towards the end, and when I said I hadn't got any more money to give, it was, you can't possibly love me. If you really did love me, then you would find it from somewhere. I was even stupid to take out a loan, but he took every single penny of that.
In total, Di was conned out of £40,000 in just 4.5 weeks. How do you feel now?
I still feel stupid, how ridiculous, but I've got to accept that I wasn't in a good place, and if I dwell on it, they've won again.
Even though Di's been through an awful ordeal, we want to help her to realise that this wasn't her fault.
Sort of got one foot in the past because of this.
The last time you dated was over 30 years ago, and that was a very, very different world.
Yeah, it is.
You're a nice person, and if someone asked you for help, what would you do?
Give it. I'd do anything for anybody.
If you ever heard of someone giving somebody any help that needed it, would you ever call them stupid or ridiculous?
No. No. Because my nature is to help people.
Letting this happen, what that actually says is that you're a really nice person.
I'm better than those scumbags that did it, and I am starting to believe that it's my time, and I am happy.
A police investigation discovered that Kevin Thompson didn't exist, but it was in fact a criminal gang who targeted Di.
Nicholas Adady, Obed Addo and Erica Kanzi are 3 of the 6 who were sent to prison. Despite Di's bad luck, there is some happy news. So you're getting married in December?
Yes.
That's so cool.
That's amazing news. Happy?
Very happy.
So can you now say that the past is behind you and you're looking to a bright future?
Yes, I am.
You really do deserve it. Honestly you do. Very lovely.
What we discovered today, Di lost her love, she became vulnerable, and as a result of that vulnerability, she was conned out of her life savings.
But what Di has proved, that even when the worst things happen, that you can get through it, you can start again, and most importantly, just like Di, you can find true love.
Over the past few weeks, Eva and I have been exploring how the search for love can sometimes end in heartbreak. Eva, take a look at this. This lady was married for 17 years, and while still married, her husband went on to marry someone else in secret.
That's awful.
A wedding, for most couples, is the start of their new lives together.
But for some, it could be the beginning of a nightmare.
For richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health, to love and to cherish till death us do part. These are the words that we said to each other when we made our wedding vows 24 years ago.
And these were the same meaningful words that were said to Eve when she met and married the then love of her life, Maurice Gibney, almost 25 years ago. But for Eve, who was married to the man of her dreams, these words have come to mean nothing after she discovered that her husband was leading a double life. We're meeting Eve in the Wirral, where she lives with her family.
I was working in Nigeria. I was working as a nursing officer, and he was working in construction as a quantity surveyor.
Was it love at first sight?
I think it was, yeah. Had a bit of a whirlwind romance, got married 3 months later in a beautifully romantic castle just outside of Gretna Green. When I met Maurice, I had a 4-year-old son from a previous relationship, and he had a daughter who was also 4.
Had you been married before?
I'd been in a long-term relationship. We both had, but neither of us had been married
So this
before.
is your first marriage?
This was our first marriage.
And what kind of husband was he?
He was a husband that I loved very much and fulfilled my concept of what a good husband should be. He was absent quite a bit because of our work, but that suited both of us because we were very independent people.
In 2011, Maurice took a job in Oman, and that's when things began to change.
He wasn't coming back as he normally was. And every time we arranged for Seb and I, my youngest son, to go out to visit in the school holidays, there would be a work commitment that would come up that would cause him to travel elsewhere. So our trips were cancelled. And I began to think, well, you know, why is this? Why is he prioritising work so much over us?
Maurice missed Christmas in the UK that year, arriving late to celebrate with his family, and at that point, Eve says the relationship started to break down.
His behaviour at that point was incredibly erratic, aggressive. He said he was going to his mother's house, and he just never came back.
Has he ever seen your son since then?
No, he's never seen our son, and he's never seen, he's never seen our other son either. No, he's never seen either of them.
So he didn't just walk out on you, he also walked out?
He walked out on all three of us, yeah.
Wow.
I decided at that point I didn't want to be with him anymore. I just did not want to be with him anymore. So I started divorce proceedings. And he agreed. He said, yeah, he felt that we'd drifted apart and that, yeah, this was the way forward.
During divorce proceedings, it became apparent that Maurice had not been as honest as Eve thought whilst they were married. So how did you find out that he was married to another woman?
I found out on Facebook. Her page came up and her profile picture was her on her wedding day marrying my husband.
Oh my goodness.
Tell me about that moment.
I knew it was him, but I couldn't believe it was him. But I just rung a really good friend and I said, look, I can't believe what I'm seeing. So she went onto the Facebook page and she said to me, don't look at it. She looked at the photographer's website, which showed the whole wedding photographs. She called me back and she said, it is him. And she said, more than that, there's his mother walking him down the aisle.
Eve, honestly, I am so sorry. You so did not deserve that.
Just phenomenal level of betrayal.
Maurice Gibney was convicted for bigamy and given a suspended sentence.
It was a really difficult journey, obviously, emotionally and psychologically. Not only for me, more so for the children. And I think that the best thing that's come out of it is we're free of him. The fact that he hasn't seen the children in 6 years, I view that as a positive thing.
Despite the trauma Eve and her family have been through, she's been able to move forward with her life.
I've found that positive outcome in the relationship that I'm in now, yeah.
And did you ever think back then that you'd get over this?
Sometimes I don't think I could even see a way out. I never knew when it was going to end or how it was going to end.
So you've put this behind you, you're in a new relationship. What does the future hold?
Oh, I don't know. Hopefully something really exciting. I don't know.
Bigamy isn't something that we often hear about. And what shocked me was the fact that Maurice Gibney only got a suspended sentence for a crime that ruined the life of Eve and her family.
Luckily for Eve, she's been able to put what happened to her behind her. She'll never forget the pain that she's been through, but the good news is she's been able to find happiness.